Hey guys, Harsh here and welcome back to Technolobe. I have been using the Moto One Fusion Plus for about 2 weeks now and I have been clicking a lot of photos with this phone. In fact, I've made a dedicated camera review of the Moto One Fusion Plus, and in case you missed that video, don't worry, it will be linked in the description box below. So you can watch that video after this video. Now the cameras on Moto One Fusion Plus are great, but it is a very inconsistent experience. So I've mentioned this in the full camera review as well, that the camera is very inconsistent, and the main reason for that is the software. Software optimization isn't on point, and that's where Google Camera comes in. So this phone comes with a Snapdragon 730G processor, the same one as the Poco X2, and one might think that Poco X2's Google Camera will just work on this phone, but that's not the case. Google Camera does not work that way. So if you ever come across a review or an unboxing where the person is telling you that this phone will have Gcam just because it has camera to API, then don't believe that person. Gcam is a bit more complicated and developers have to fine tune the Google Camera application for each phone out there. So that's a little bit complicated, but nevertheless I have tried a lot of Gcam ports for the Moto One Fusion Plus and finally landed on one which I think is really good at this point in time. Let's start by comparing the images from stock camera application and Google Camera. Right off the bat, you will notice that Gcam has better dynamic range. Now this is all across the board. Gcam will give you better dynamic range. Now in some cases you will notice that the stock camera application image is brighter, and that's because the stock camera application is overexposing the photos. It's not like Gcam is underexposing the photos. That's not the case. It's the other way around. The stock camera application is overexposing the photos, and we have seen this with a lot of budget phones recently. They tune the software in such a way that the photo will be on the brighter side, and that does not mean that the photo is good looking. It's just that the photo is more bright, and generally humans prefer that. Anyway, apart from that, when it comes to the colors, both the stock camera application and Google Camera will give you really good colors, natural colors, not too oversaturated, not too undersaturated, and that is a great thing. Also, when it comes to white balance, the stock camera application is very inconsistent, but Gcam is not inconsistent at all. In fact, it is very consistent in terms of white balance and will give you the right white balance almost every single time. So that is excellent. Now one place where Google Camera will give you a lot of improvement over the stock camera application is in terms of night mode. Night sight works like a charm on Google Camera, and it is way better than the built-in night mode that Moto One Fusion Plus comes with. Moto One Fusion Plus has a very weird night mode. It is called night vision. Sometimes it's great, but sometimes it will just overexpose the photo. So that's why night sight is better and you should definitely use it. Now what about them selfies? When it comes to the front camera, there is no comparison here. Google Camera is definitely better than the stock camera application. Better dynamic range, more detailed selfies, and overall just a better looking selfie from the Gcam application. So that was the main camera. What about the wide angle camera and macro camera? If you want to use wide angle and macro camera with a Google Camera mod, then you will have to use a different mod, not this one. This mod is from Arnova and it supports only the main 64 megapixel camera. If you want support for the ultra wide and macro camera, then you will have to use the TR camera application. So I'll make sure to drop a link to that as well in the description box below. But the problem with TR camera is that night sight isn't working on that mod. So you will have to kind of make a trade-off, like which camera do you want to use. If you want to use Arnova's mod, then you will not get support for ultra wide angle and macro. But on the other hand, if you want support for ultra wide and macro, you will have to sacrifice night sight for that. So just make a trade-off, or just keep installing and uninstalling both of these applications whenever you want. I'll make sure to drop a link to both of them in the description box below. Anyway, this was a very quick video about Google Camera for Moto One Fusion Plus. It definitely adds value to your phone and it will help you click better pictures. It's like a free upgrade, so why not do it, right? Go to the description box below, you will find links, download the Google Camera application and install it. That's been it. My name is Harsh Punjabi, and I'll see you guys in the next one.